Hello and welcome to another stream. I'm joined today by Jay and we're doing some hobby. How are you doing, Jay?
Hi, Matt. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's I've not had the painting motivation for a couple of weeks now, but this last couple of days I've really got back on it again. So yeah, I am quite pleased we're doing a stream tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a bit warm for painting, so I've been building models rapidly the last few days. We made a game outside in the sun yesterday. It was really fun, so we'll probably talk about that later on. Dave's not joining us today because it is his birthday today, so he's enjoying a few brews, I believe, right now. If you're watching, Dave, give us a shout. We've got some people in the chat as well. Steve Harbour says evening all. Dodgy Roller says evening all. Andy, you may notice there is a sword next to your name. You have the power to defend the realms. So use it wisely. So yes, we're
he's going to roll a 1.
This is it, Dev. Absolutely. We've got Tom on YouTube. How are you doing? I believe I've seen you on here before. How are things? Are you having a good weekend, everybody? So yeah, if you've not joined us before, we spend a couple of hours on a Sunday doing some hobby, normally doing some painting. I'm going to be continuing building. Like I say, I've been working on some demons because I've built all my Soulblight Gravelords. You can probably see it vaguely behind me on these shelves here. And pretty much hammered a few nights building those and thought, I've got a few demons kits that I need to do. So so I'm currently building Dexessa. Is it Dexessa? Yeah, Dexessa, the Talon of Slaanesh. I'm currently building. Really, really nice kit. And if I get through this, I've got a few other... I've got a Keeper Secrets and another Dexessa kit to build the other twin behind me. And then, yeah, this morning I've been working on a Great Unclean one. So let's quickly show you this. So, obviously, it's been a while since we've had a Daemons Codex for 40k and a Maggotkin and Nurgle book for Sigmar. So what I thought I'd do is magnetize all the weapons options, because it's always the way, isn't it, where the lesser picked option is always maybe the better one when a new book comes out. So magnetized all the arms to give me the option to do them. This little magnet in the arm here, I might need to pad that out with some green stuff because it's quite a strong one that might rip itself out, and then just need to tidy up in the little cavity there. But yeah, they seem to work. These ones are slightly weaker because I couldn't fit my big strong magnet in there without doing some cutting, and I really couldn't be bothered to kind of do any cutting when it holds well enough with that. So that's what I've been doing this morning. And then yeah, we've got on my desk right now, Dexessa, the Talon of Slaanesh. Really, really nice model. I was umming and ahhing about having this in sub-assemblies because it's got all these, I don't know if you can see, Jay, you've got all these kind of clothy bits on the back of it. And I was thinking, should I keep that all separate? Makes it a bit easier. Maybe that's that way. Makes it a bit easier to paint. But thinking about it, look, if you can't get to the bits with your brush, you probably ain't going to see it anyway. And then start with a black base coat, and then kind of what I'll probably do is airbrush the cloth and then start working on the skin. So any bits that are in shade doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden anyway. The kind of big peacock fin, I'm going to be building that next, and I'm going to see if I can leave that separate. I will do, because then I can do a nice gradient on it with the airbrush. And then the same with the wings on the other twin. So that's the battle plan for today anyway. How about you, Jay? What you got in front of you right now?
Have a guess what I'm currently painting, Matt.
It looks a bit fox-like, Jay.
Yeah, so this is the Sephiroth, the Wind Spirit. And he's actually been really, really fun to paint. And I'm over halfway through from now. So the main fox bit is pretty much done. I've got a few of the leather sort of straps to paint that I'm not done yet. I've got his sort of magic arrows to paint as well. And they've done a really cool sort of blue into yellow blend effect on the box art, which I'm going to try and replicate. Nice. So I'm leaving that to last. I'm now working on the ribbons that sort of come down. And again, I want to try and get these going from blue to sort of yellow as well, like a creamy colour, which will be interesting. So that's
blue to yellow, what, through green or something?
No, not through green. So, like, if I just show you, I don't know if you can see on the box art very well. So if you can sort of see where he's got like the different
just switch to your camera, Jay. Yeah, I see one blue, one yellow on there.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, like you say, blue and yellow sort of does make green, and I don't want to make green. So actually, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. It's going to be an experiment. We'll
Yeah,
see what happens.
I'm sure it'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
So, well, that sounds cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know you're very close to having 1,000 points of Lumineth Realm Lords painted ready for the next edition of Age of Sigmar, aren't you?
Yeah, well, with this guy painted, that takes me to about 2,300 points of Lumineth painted. And now,
Cool.
that gives me 30 battle line. So I can split that into 3 units of 10, or 1 unit of 20 and 1 unit of 10, or 1 unit of 20 and 2 units of 5. So I've got a mix of battle line. I do really want to paint another 20 wardens before I get to 2,000 points. But for 1,000 points, 20 wardens and 10 stone guard is enough.
The Wardens, are they your spear elves?
Spear elves, that's right. Yeah, I've got no archers painted, but I don't intend on painting any archers at the moment. I've got a unit of Hurricane Wind Chargers, which are almost there. They're nearly done. Maybe 1 or 2 knights on them will see them finished as well. So that gives me a cavalry unit.
Yeah.
I'll have the Wind Spirit painted. I've got Alfarian. I've got a couple of mages painted, and the big Mountain Spirit as well. Also Teclis. Keep forgetting I've got him painted too. Just never used him yet. But I think next on the painting list after the Wind Spirit is going to be the Lord Regent, which is like the sort of prince or noble on the mount.
Yeah, there's a really nice conversion on him as well.
Yeah, with the swords. So I'm going to get him painted because I think he's going to be in most of my list, and that just gives me lots of options. Then I think it's time to get back on with some wardens. Get that next unit 20 wardens done, and then cavalry. I definitely do need cavalry. That speed is really important, I think, in games of Age of Sigmar. Although with the smaller board sizes, perhaps in 3rd edition, maybe not as important. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some more details on 3rd because, like you say, it's those 1,000-point games are on quite a small footprint, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, even 2,000, it's what 5 foot wide, and I think you lose 6 inches from each edge of the board on that as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. What are your thoughts on the smaller board sizes in 40k and obviously in Sigmar now?
In 40k, I like it. I really like it in 40k. The action sort of you get to it a lot faster, and I think close combat armies, especially where ordinarily they'd have to slog across the board, then slog through Overwatch. Of course, now with the changes to Overwatch as well for most armies, I like the smaller battles. I think you end up with skirmishes happening on different points of the battlefield more quickly, which is really what you want in a game of 40k, really. So I've got a brew here. On the Age of Sigmar side, it's going to be interesting on the Age of Sigmar side because I find Age of Sigmar more so than 40k. When you find like the top players playing it, they're pre-measuring, they're setting up deployment so that they're outside the engagement range and threat range of any units. You've got to worry about the alpha strike, and then slower armies have got problems getting to objectives, and you have to really. You've only got 5 turns to score those objectives, so you've got to make sure units are in the right place at the right time. And it's going to be interesting to see what the smaller board does, because a lot of armies like Daughters of Cain, Dave's Oryx, for example, which can get right across the board in 1 turn.
Well, we saw that at the weekend, didn't we? They're quite quick.
Yeah, but that's their main advantage, to be able to get to those places quickly. Whereas armies like Lumineth, Cities of Sigmar, the slower ogres and Death to some extent, the slower armies that lack those mobility, they're not going to be so heavily disadvantaged now that the boards are going to be smaller. The deployment zones are going to be potentially closer together. Maybe not. Maybe the deployment zones will just be a bit smaller themselves.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And they did say, though, that, this is going to change the way you build and play lists. So currently where someone builds an Uruk army and it's all about the speed, taking advantage of those mighty destroyer moves and things, maybe now they can think, well, hang on, maybe we don't need to worry so much about getting across the board in a turn, and we can maybe put points into units that we might not ordinarily have taken.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of changes game-wise with that. Because it does make things more interesting, doesn't it? I like it when it kind of resets things and makes you think about your list building.
Yeah. I think that with the changes to battalions as well, core battalions and things, I think more people are going to be able to play the list they actually want to play now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now disclaimer: we haven't seen any of this yet, so this is just speculation at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked really well with 40k, didn't it? You didn't feel pressured into taking those armies that you didn't want to take. There's a point where you took units because you had to, because otherwise you're giving the opponent an advantage essentially. And we talked about this, I think, on last week's podcast as well, didn't we? Where certainly in a tournament setting, there's often a kind of thought that if you don't take your kind of amazing win at all costs list, then really you're throwing the game away, and that shouldn't really be how the game is, I don't think.
No.
Steve Harbour in the chat says, is the shift to smaller games of AOS setting up the rank and flank of Old World? Arguably, the Old World was on a 6x4 foot board for classic Warhammer. It wouldn't surprise me if that stays on those dimensions, because there's a lot of speculation about the Old World and people saying, it's going to be epic scale, or it's still going to be on round bases. I honestly don't think so. In the same way the Horus Heresy is the 7th edition off the top of my head, rule set of 40k.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's keeping that old school Warhammer. I very much imagine that the Old World will be based on the last edition of Warhammer. So, square bases, same kind of rule set. There'll be some tweaks and they've tidied some things up, but I think that's what it'll be based on, because that's what they're going for with these systems. It's, nostalgia for the old veterans like us who played them back in the day. I really can't see them changing it to a Sigmar style system, because then the arguments just play Age of Sigmar.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I don't know how close it's going to be. I think it's a while off. I kind of thought we might see it alongside Total War 3, but that seems to be coming on a bit now, doesn't it? That's not too far out.
Yeah, we had the more content at Skulls this week.
Oh yeah, you watched the Skulls reveal. They had some pretty cool stuff, didn't they?
They did have some cool stuff. So the Chaos Gate, that was real exciting. That trailer was ace, and I think they said that there's another trailer coming in August for that.
Yeah, I think video games like their trailers for trailers, don't they?
Yeah.
Did you play the original Chaos Gate?
No, I didn't. No.
It was an old school. There was a lot of Warhammer games back in the day that were really fun. Chaos Gate being one of them. Not as good as Final Liberation, the epic game.
I do remember that one. Yeah.
That was really fun. I enjoyed that. But yeah, Chaos Gate was like an RTS, and there's a bit of a gap in the market for that now that Dawn of War's kind of THQ have gone, haven't they?
Yeah, I think I read though that this one's going to be a turn-based strategy.
Is it?
Yeah, they said it's going to be a turn-based strategy, which might not be a bad thing. There's some good turn-based strategies out there.
But like you say, it was a bit kind of XCOM-y.
Right. Okay.
But no, it's cool.
The game that stood out to me though was that what was it called? Shooters, Teeth, and something, or Shooters.
The Orc one. The kind of
it
looks a bit like what's it called? I forget what the game's called now. With the little angry red whatever he is that's trying to get through the stages quickly. Meat Boy.
Oh yes.
Remind me of that. Grace here says, when they announced the Old World, they specifically referenced square bases. I think Total War 3 will effectively be a teaser, given they're developing the two in parallel. Once it launches, we'll see more Old World concepts. I think you're right, because obviously the factions that the Warhammer studio are designing for Total War will clearly eventually be miniatures as well for the Old World. So that'll be really exciting to see. I'm alright, aren't I? Because I've got a massive demon army. I'm not rebasing them onto squares again, though. I'll sort something out for that. So yeah. And then as the first DLCs are announced, there'll be teasers for the Old World. Yeah, I think that's a good theory. I'm looking forward to that, though. It looks really cool. There was a expansion for Total War 2 as well that they showed. What was it? Lizardman versus Beastman.
Silence and Fury.
So that looks cool.
Yeah, that did look good.
These, I've got to say, these new Slash models are really, really cool, but they're a bit fiddly.
How does she stack up to a have you got one of the new keepers?
Not built. I mean, there's a great unclean
No.
one here. Which isn't too far out. So look, she's camera's a bit out. Let me move the camera out a bit and destroy
Because I
the
did see
desk.
I saw some pictures of the Warsong Revenant built, and that's
So you
actually a
see-
lot bigger.
You see,
than,
Jay, she's kind of as tall as a great unclean one. Obviously, when she's got the wings and stuff on her,
Oh yeah,
quite lithe compared to them, but still an impressive sized model. You know, forget the old Keeper of Secrets. As long as I don't garrot myself with these cables. Oops.
Oh yeah.
The old Keeper of Secrets. I mean, that is a really
the
old
old
model
Keeper,
now,
yeah.
but she's
Little
she's
metal.
decent size. He's really heavy. And he's still standing. There was a time where this guy, I mean, he's been pinned about 1 million times, and it it falls to bits at the drop of a hat. But it's still standing. It's still going strong. So yeah, it's a sign. Surely it's a sign.
Well, I know he's killed a lot of dwarfs in his time with his spells in
He has
old
killed a lot
edition.
of dwarves in his time. Right. Okay. So we have got a wing here. So ideally, I don't want to attach these straight away. If we can make it so that they attach together, because if you look on the back of her, there's like 6 little locators on her back. You can see that? 6 little locators on her back. So in theory, if I stick the wings together because this is the one with the big kind of like peacock wing at the back. So if I stick them together in one go and then make sure they locate in there, I can keep that separate, paint it up, and then just super glue it on at the end. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how that goes. If that doesn't seem feasible, I'll have to stick it, because I'm not messing around with having 3 pieces of wing to kind of do gradient on as well. So we'll see how we go. I think the second one's going to be easier because obviously she's got 2 wings.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Right, 45. One thing I like about this instruction manual as well, which maybe it's just me being sad, but all of the instructions are in numerical order. So all of your parts are basically 1 through whatever.
Oh yeah. So if you lose your place, you know where you're up to and things like that.
Which I'm surprised they didn't do more on kits.
What was that building the other day where it had no numbers on it? What
was it an old kit?
It was an old kit, yeah. I can't recall what it was now.
What were you building the other day?
I don't know. When I say the other day, I'm talking like in the last month or so.
Right, okay.
There was a kit I was building that was old. I don't know what it was. It might have been Terminators, Dark Angel Terminators, but I don't think it was.
Dark Angel Terminators. I say, you got some secret project on the go, Joe?
No, I've got no secret projects. Well, I say I've got no secret projects. It's not really a secret, but I'm really hyped about the new Sisters of Battle. So I've bought a few. I've ordered some 2 boxes of Battle Sisters, so that'll give me 30 sisters. I've ordered 10 of the new Celestians, the what are they called, Sacra Celestians or something like that. The new
Celestians, is it?
Yeah, with the halberds and shields. I love those models. I've ordered the High Lord of Terror,
Morven Val,
and I've ordered the Palatine as well.
Nice.
So I've got quite a lot of sisters coming. I'm aiming to build a 1,000-point crusade as part of. So from the Tales of Sprues, it'll be Lumineth and Sisters of Battle.
Cool.
But yeah, that's my not so secret project.
Your not so secret project. Yeah. Well, for anyone who's maybe watching for the first time or doesn't listen to the podcast, what is Tale of Sprues, Jay?
Tale of Sprues. So this was an idea we thought of. We were going to do a regular Tale of Gamers where we pick an army, which was probably going to be an Age of Sigmar army with a new edition out, and paint so many points or a monetary value each month over the next series of months. And then we thought, well, we want to get the community, all of our listeners and followers involved as well. And then we thought, well, we've got a mixture of 40k fans and Age of Sigmar fans, so we don't, we want to be as inclusive as we can. So we thought, well, rather than, stick to an army and try and hit a target each month, we thought we'd just do, paint something each month. build something each month or play a game of something each month, but then report in with what you're doing. There's a hashtag. We've got a hashtag, have we, Matt?
We have it. It is hashtag Tale of Sprues.
Yeah. So, and then each month, I think we're going to do it monthly, aren't we? We're going to look at all of the things that images and pictures and reports and things that people send in, and just have like a catch up. So it's more of a general sort of Tale of Gamers, a bit more freedom for people.
Yeah, we've done it a couple of years, and I mean, we can batter through a lot of stuff when we want to, but you know, it can burn you out, especially if there's cool stuff coming out, and you know, you want to get a few different models and mix it up a bit. When we did the Tale of Gamers in the past, you're doing nothing but paint those armies for that month, are you?
Yeah, that's it.
So it mixes it up, and it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody submits. We had a few people send some stuff in as well. Jem, who's a regular listener, has sent his submission. So anyone who is watching along, yeah, get it on Twitter and Facebook and share it, because yeah, we'd love to see what you're working on.
Dave's putting a page up on the site, isn't it? It's going to be dedicated to it.
Yeah, so there will be. I might already be on there. If it's not, it'll be up there imminently. But on the top banner of the website, there'll be a Tale of Sprues like option, and that will gather together all of the Tale of Sprues sites. So what we'll probably do is at the start of each month we'll put a post up with our kind of like favourite community ones that we've seen, but then we'll also have a post for each of us with the stuff that we've worked on. And you know, it doesn't have to be painted, it could be stuff that you've built, it could be games that you've had. We just really want to kind of celebrate the hobby, don't we? And yeah, Dave's site should pull all that content together onto one page, which would be really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
He's the expert at the website stuff, isn't he? So I won't pretend to know what I'm doing.
But I do prefer this sort of style, because I know, like, at the moment, I mean, I've done really well actually this year. I've sort of stuck to my Lumineth and my armies that I'm building. I'm now sort of branching out with Sisters, but it's been nearly 6 months, so I think I've earned a branch out into a different army now.
Branch out. You could have gone with Sylvaneth for that, Jay.
Could I? Well, I mean, that sort of leads on to what I was saying, because we might see some Sylvaneth or Kenofi or some dwarfs, and you know, if I'm tied into a particular Age of Sigmar army, I'm thinking, well, they've just come out. I really, really, really want to paint some of those Kenofi or some of those dwarfs. We can do that. You know, I can do that for that month, so that's really cool.
And that's the thing. Otherwise, in the past, it feels like you're kind of like, oh, you're getting behind on your Tale of Gamers kind of army. If you jump on the other stuff, well, it doesn't matter. It all comes together now. Naturally, we will be painting armies as part of this as well, but it means we can jump on other stuff as well. So it should be a bit of fun. And obviously, we'll be doing the painting streams on here as well. I guess this is the first Tale of Sprues branded stream. Yeah. But yeah, basically gives us freedom to do whatever we like, and you guys at home as well. So really cool. We've got a question from Andy in the chat. Jay, are you using the new GW brushes? If so, how are they?
I am. So yeah, long story short, I'm really impressed with them. So I've got the small base, the medium base, the dry brush, which I've not used yet, the medium shade brush, the medium layer brush, and I believe I've got the small layer as well. Yep, small layer. And I've been using them to paint this model, so I get some pictures of this model up once he's done. Yeah, I'm really, really impressed with them. I think for fine detail, I'm not 100% sure whether the small layer brush is fine enough. I don't know if they do a smaller one than the layer S.
I think it's the Artificer brushes, which I know you've not been a fan of in the past.
No, I didn't like the Artificer brushes. So I think for my main detail, I tend to use the Army Painter Masterclass one, this black one. And I think I will stick to that for like my, you know, your eyes, your gems, that sort of thing. Whereas
apparently they're really good for edge highlights, these. Yeah, I popped to GW the other day and picked up pretty much the same as you in assortment. The dry brushes are really good. Yeah, I've been impressed because, you know, we paint a lot of models, we go through a lot of brushes, so even expensive brushes don't last that long. So if a £4 brush will get me by, you know, half the time of a £12 brush, then I'm up essentially, aren't I?
Yeah, I really like the whole. A good amount of paint, They're quite springy, so they hold their point. I'm finding. They're easy to clean because they're just like, what is it, nylon or
Yeah,
plastic?
synthetic. And that's the other thing. If you're, obviously we're not, but some people, if you don't like to use things made of animal kind of produce, these are completely synthetic.
So
Ooh,
so I'm liking them.
man, these are so Slanesh kits are notorious for being equal amounts of pleasure and pain. The chariots, let's not even talk about the chariots, guys. I still have nightmares about building the chariots. The Forge World Keeper Secrets comes with, I think it's 104 spikes on sprues that you're going to put in place with a tweezer. Yeah, that ain't fun. And this monstrosity, I don't know if you can see that, Jay, but trying to cut that out of the sprue and clean it up without the whole thing splitting on you. Yeah, it's been fun. And also to add to the Slaneshi frustration, each of her kind of talons, nails, whatever you call them, are separate pieces on the sprue as well.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So it's a really nice model, but it's a little bit fiddly. You take your time building this one, guys. And obviously, I had to pick up 2 boxes of it because you can't just have one twin, can you? That's just
No,
right.
well, they're quite reasonably priced, I think.
Yeah.
So you could easily get 2 of them in a list, points wise. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, even money wise, considering that they're pretty much greater demon size, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah. I was a bit not disappointed. It would have been cool to see some sort of bonus for taking them both.
Yeah, I think that would have been good. Now, whether we get a 3rd edition Slanesh book,
maybe
we'll joke about that. Yeah, who knows? I mean, they are absent from the current Slanesh book, aren't they? So,
yeah.
I guess draw your own conclusions. I think there'd be riots, but you never know. But Sisters came out, what, 18 months ago, and they've got a new book.
Yeah.
So I think I think faster releases is something that we're going to see from here on out. Personally, I think we'll see another Gravelords book for 3rd, and I think we'll see a Slash one as well. But hopefully they take the opportunity to give some of the lesser used armies their time in the sun. Obviously, the Beastmen feature quite heavily in Kragnos, so it'd be good to see some new Beastmen stuff. I nearly bought that Beastman Broken Realms box, the one with all the Minotaurs in the Gorgon, but then resisted because I'd spent lots on toys this month. But that's one army.
Short of Age Sigmar models to paint, aren't
we're gonna have plenty of models here to paint, aren't we? That's one of the few armies we haven't got, so I was looking at Beastmen.
You should do Beastmen when I get Kanofi.
Yeah, I think that's a plan. We've not got many armies that we don't have between us, so I think get this stuff that we've got. So the Demons, the Gravelords, the Lumineth, Dave's going to do the Cruel Boys when they come out. I'll do a Stormcast in Hammers of Sigmar. Is it the Gold Scheme?
The main guys. Yeah, Hammers of Sigmar. That's right.
And that's pretty much my immediate painting plan for the next couple of months. The Demons are in here because I really enjoyed using Be'lakor in the Legion of the First Prince, and soon-ish, we don't know when, that campaign book for 40k is coming out, which lets you take a mixed Chaos Space Marines and Demons army, and I've got a load of Black Legion that I haven't built yet, because again, with the current situation, with the way that some are and some aren't sticking to the models in the box being what units you've got, I don't want to build a load of stuff for it to be, illegal. Yeah. So, and I'm not in no hurry to build them, so I can do them as a nice Tale of Sprues project when the new Chaos Space Marine books comes out. So yeah. That's
I was thinking, I know you want to do Black Legion, and Black Legion would be cool, especially with like Abaddon and stuff. But I was thinking, if you're going to mix the Demons in,
Word Bearers. I know that also crossed my mind, Jay. Yeah. And Abaddon's a nice centerpiece I can paint up anyway. But yeah, I did have whisperings of Lorgar in my hair as well, Jay.
I think that could be cool. I mean, you could always do Abaddon and some Black Legion Justarian Terminators to take as like a detachment.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But Word Bearers I think would be cool. You don't see them very often either, Word Bearers.
No, and I think they'd be fun to paint up. And I could use like the Gore Volbrak and stuff. The Possessed. So yeah, chat. What do you think? should I do a Black Legion army or a Word Bearers army? Again, this is not super soon, but in the next few weeks are probably going to be Age of Sigmar heavy, realistically, aren't they? And the rest of the sister releases. But after that, I don't think it'll be too long after that we'll see the Be'lakor book.
No,
So
you've also got Beast Snaggers on the way.
Yeah.
And I know you're keen on getting them as well, aren't you?
I am. So there's lots to paint up. So there's no hurry to do Chaos Space Marine straight away, which is why I'm kind of waiting for the new book, and then see.
You may as well wait for a new book. If there was nothing else coming, then I think do it now. But with Beast Snaggers and your Sigmar army on the horizon, So, it's not like you're looking for an army, are you, to do?
No, and we've got lots to build and paint, which is fun, which is good having lots of goodies to work on.
I think Andy wants to do a Beast of Chaos army.
And he also said Word Bearers fits with all the demons. Yeah, you know what? I always thought you had a Beasts of Chaos army, Andy. I don't know why. Or maybe you just said in the past that you fancy doing them. Yeah, they appeal to me. Back when me and my brother started playing Warhammer, which was 5th edition maybe, and the Chaos book was a big boxed set with a load of tokens and rule books and stuff in it, and he got at the time new metal Bestigors and Ungor, and they were really cool models, and I've always had a bit of a soft spot for them. And like I say, it's one of the few armies we haven't got between us, so for like website content stuff, that's quite good, isn't it?
It would be really cool to see them in a battle box with Kernoffy.
Oh, that'd be amazing. It'd be an old school kind of like Athelaren kind of battle. You know what, Jay? I don't know if you can see the main screen there, but I think I might get away with sticking these pieces together, and then I can just super glue that into the back of it.
Yeah, so it just attaches on the edge there.
Yeah, so if you see it on the very back, there's some like locators there. So as long as I've got it positioned right, I think I'll be all right. And it will still slide a little bit once the glue's set in anyway, so I can make sure it's in the right position. And then it just means that I can attach that to a stick or a base or something, and then just do a nice gradient. I've been looking at pictures of peacocks today because I'm thinking like green and black would be nice for the kind of fin at the back of it. I know they go, what have they got on the back start for this one? They've gone kind of like a black to purple kind of gradient, and then red one for the other one. But I think a more kind of vibrant peacock one for this would work quite well. It'd be eye-catching.
Well, the green will go nice with the purple.
So I'll have a play with that, and then I'm probably similar for this. Maybe some more oranges in here just to brighten it up a bit, because that build really reminds me of Ariel from the Wood Elves.
Yes. Yeah, the old one, yeah.
Steve Harbour says Black Legion, so we've got a vote for each, the Word Bearers and the Black Legion. So
I like them both.
I like them both. I like Abaddon, and I've got my Sons of Horus army as well. So
you have, yeah.
I'm torn.
Black Legion are nice. The with the black and gold as well, it's very good. But it's also it's not an easy army to paint black and gold because there's a lot of trim and stuff to pick out. Whereas with your Word Bearers, potentially it might be a bit of an easier, just red armor, silver trim maybe. I've
been painting some black. I've got all my vampires with lots of black and stuff as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I say, there's no rush to do them straight away.
No.
I could, of course, get Lorgar and use him as an Abaddon proxy or something.
You could, and you've also got the new Forge World Word Bearer Praetors.
Oh yeah, that is a good shout. Yeah.
I mean, rules-wise, I don't think Black Legion or Word Bearers are the best Space Marine legions. So it's not as if you're going to be missing out by choosing one or the other. I don't think. I think
they're
both
sort of, isn't it? Not currently, and that's why I'm holding fire for a new book. Right, we've not got many bits left. I think I've literally got one more bit left to cut out, and then she is complete, Jay. So that's good going. That's good going. Half hour into the stream, first model built. I know I cheated and I started building this morning, but you know what I mean.
One spring down.
So, now.
Well, I've actually, as I've been painting these, I think it's going to be easier to blend them than I initially thought because the ribbons. The ribbons sort of end. There's an end to the ribbon, and then this swirl thing starts. So the ribbons are going to be blue, and I'm going to block them completely blue.
Mm-hmm.
But the swirly thing, I'm gonna blend from like a browny yellow at the bottom to white going up the top.
Oh, and that
So
gets
by
rid of
the
your green
time
problem then, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. By the time it touches the ribbons, it's going to be sort of white.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And what, just gradually increase more medium as you bring it up to get a nice transition to it?
Yeah. Such a nice model.
You know what? You could do like 3 parts water plus 1 part paint, kind of glazed towards the end of it.
I've got some Water Plus here in front of me, so I'll give that a try.
How have you found it? Have you used much of it yet?
I have used it, not loads. And the reason I've not used loads is because I'd already made a lot of progress with my Lumineth before I got my hands on it. So I've got my recipes already for my Lumineth. I didn't want to deviate too much from them. But on something like this, you know, the wind pattern at the bottom, I can try that. It's not as if I have to replicate that across a whole bunch of models. So
it's really good. Like I said, I've not done much painting at all this week because I've just been building lots and lots of undead, ready for a game that we had on. When was it? Yesterday.
It was yesterday.
We were due to do a Sisters of Battle versus AdMech live stream. Unfortunately, the webways must be treacherous at the minute, and the sisters were a little bit delayed. We didn't get our review copy from GW, so unfortunately we had to cancel the stream, which was a shame because I was looking forward to getting the sisters out. Hopefully, if the book comes this week, we'll still try and do something. But I think you'll be penning that one, Jay, when it arrives.
Yep. What's that?
So instead we thought, well, the sun's shining. Let's get everyone round and have a game of Age of Sigmar in the garden. So Dave was using his Uruks, led by Kragnos. And I brought the Gravelords, led by Nagash. We wanted to do a god battle because we thought that'd be a bit of fun. And it was a really good game, a really close game. You were watching, weren't you, Jay?
I was watching. Yeah, I mean, I thought, looking at the lists, I thought you had the edge myself. So if I had to put a bet on it, I would have put money on you. I thought Nagashi's very, very, very good model, even though he's expensive. In a Soulblight Gravelord's army, not such a big issue because you can talk about your army list in a sec, Matt. So I had my money on you. And to be fair, it was a very, very, very close game. It came down to turn 5, and it wasn't just a priority roll-off. There was a whole mixture of things that sort of led to how close it was going to be.
Yeah.
Which was really, really cool.
It must be one of the closest games I've ever had. Down to each fight we were looking at in detail, blow by blow, because it could change the entire outcome, couldn't it?
Yeah, it had everything. I mean, even like where you piled in, you know, where you left screens, which models to try and take off the board. I mean, yeah. What did you have in your list, Matt?
So I had it was a Viacos dynasty, so the Wolf Boys, led by Nagash, and then I had one Vampire Kritzer whose job was just to buff Graveguard with the Allegiance ability. I had a White King as my general to unlock Graveguard as battle line, because that means that I've seen Nagash has a lot of points, so I had to kind of like save some points where I could. So that's why the White King was the general, because that means that big block of Graveguard that I wanted to take, because really they're the best unit in the book, I could take as battle line. And then I had a block of skeletons, block of zombies, and then my general had the Viacos trait where they can summon in a unit of wolves as well. So that essentially gave me an extra body to kind of grab stuff. And we were playing the what's the name of the mission where you burn the objectives?
Scorched Earth.
Scorched Earth, that's it. So we're playing Scorched Earth, and I thought, okay, this is pretty good. I can get units killed and bring them back on grave sites, you know, on the other side of the board. I had Crits, the Rat Prince, who brilliant model to just charge off, get himself killed, and then teleport onto a backfield objective and burn it. So yeah, I had quite a lot of shenanigans. Unfortunately, it turns out getting hit by Kragnos, even if you're Nagash, hurts, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, Kragnos, over the course of a game, he destroyed 3 buildings, I think.
Yeah.
You got him down to 3 wounds with a charge from
Two
your
wounds
graveyard.
left
So was
he
it
had.
10 graveguard was it you had, or 20
It was 20, big
graveguard?
block of 20 Graveguard almost killed him. They were unlucky not to kill him. They were my best chance of taking him out, just because
With
they're high damage, they're pretty good stat line. With the Great Axes and the Via Cost buff, they're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, -1 rend 2 damage. Any 6 to wound is a mortal wound in addition. So yeah, they're a very, very good unit, and they almost killed him. I was unlucky I didn't make the charge with the Rat Prince, because I think with his stats, he probably could have finished off Kragnos, to be fair.
Yeah, he's deceptively good, isn't he? Like, nice little combat profile he had.
Yeah, 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 and D3 damage each. He's not a wizard, but he's a vampire, so obviously like the Via Cost stuff for giving his units +1 to wound works. You can still do the kind of raising extra models and the deathless minions kind of shrug. What he's really good for though is when he dies, at the end of each of your movement phases for the rest of the game, you roll the dice on a 4+, he comes back anywhere on the board 9 inches away from enemy models, which is amazing, especially in that scenario. So Dave had to be careful, because if he left his backfield stuff unattended, he could potentially get himself killed, then appear on there and burn an objective. Which Dave rapidly realised and just ignored the Rat Prince. And I think I could have potentially been more annoying and stick him on objective, so he had to shift him. It wasn't really till the end of the game where I kind of moved on to that gambit. Because really, and he was my only vampire, so I needed him to make those Graveguard fight better, because they were my chance of taking Kragnos down. And yeah, if I'd maybe, as soon as they died, hightailed it back to another objective, then he'd have to either kill him or come up with another plan, wouldn't he?
Yeah. But Kragnos on 3 wounds is as deadly as Kragnos on 18 wounds.
Yeah, I mean, this is a complaint we've had in the past, isn't it? That these big, awesome models, once they start taking wounds on their reduced profiles, they're just not very good, are they?
No, and I think there's been lots of suggestions like Marathi, where maybe that's too extreme, where she can only take so much damage in a phase, is it? Or in a turn?
Turn, I think. No phase.
Turn, yeah.
Oh, I forget now, but yeah, those kind of abilities.
It just means you can keep these sort of characters in play a bit longer, because they're susceptible to alpha strikes, and some armies do alpha strike very well. Oryx, they could have, if you hadn't screened the gash, he would have been dead.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Caradron Overlords. But yeah, so one thing you can do is do something like Nagash, the Kragnos, where he stays at, with his main weapons, 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, AP -2 or 3, was it? Renman is AP 2 or 3, with 4 flat damage.
And it doesn't degrade at all, does it? So most things that he was fighting, he didn't need to fight with any of his other attacks, because it'd be just dead in a horrific state on the floor.
Yeah.
Which again is really cool. It makes those big monstrous models kind of worth bringing. Like, Marathi is per turn, says Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really scary, even compared to my dragon.
Yes.
Because that thing's cool, but obviously it starts losing wounds with a degrading profile, and it's suddenly just not as scary.
No. So yeah, he was a threat, and he did. I don't know if he won Dave the game or not. He certainly saw Nagash off.
He did, yeah. So poor Nagash. I mean, I was trying to be as sneaky as I could with Nagash. Having a screen that, by clearing, essentially freed Nagash up to take out his Maw Crusher. And Dave didn't have any option there, really. He had to get rid of the zombie screen to allow Kragnos in, so he really had to sacrifice the Maw Crusher to do that. And there's a few shenanigans with piling in as well that I think you pointed out, because there was a few times when I could have powered Nagash in such a way that I could take an objective and keep him off it for another turn.
Yeah, I think Dave let the War overtake him in a few instances, and he was removing models where potentially he probably shouldn't have removed models, because the pile-in move is a very, very important move, not just for getting attacks in, but also for making sure you've got bodies on objectives and things like that. And so yeah, initially Dave was sort of, and I think that could have changed that combat across that objective in the corner there, where he if he'd left a few Oryx piling in one direction or removed casualties from the other side of the unit, he would have been in a stronger position. I mean, as it is, Dave was able to snatch victory, but it was very, very close.
Yeah. He's just arrived in the chat as well.
Oh, here's Dave.
Even though I thought I'd swing by and say hi as I'm sorting tea, whilst under the influence. I think Dave's had a few alcoholic beverages today. Happy birthday, Dave. Hope you've had a good day. So yeah, there we go, Jay. That is the peacock tail built.
Oh, perfect.
A little bit fiddly, but I can get that on without having it glued. So that just makes it a bit easier to paint up this bit and her separately. So she's pretty much done. So I think what I'll do is attach her to the base, and then we'll start building the second twin. Dave says he's guilty of not thinking when removing casualties. Yeah, and I wonder if that's going to be something that we see, being important in 3rd edition. Are there any rules that you really want to see in 3rd edition? Like, I know we haven't got it because I've had a few previews where targeting heroes is just -1 to hit still. There's no 40k style, you can't target them, which is a shame because I'd have liked that personally.
Yeah. What rules don't I like in Age of Sigmar 2nd edition?
What rules don't you like?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And out there in the chat as well, if anyone is watching this and has things that they'd like to see changed or removed or different in the 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar, let us know. I hope we see the Crusade system, it's called Path to Glory, isn't it? But the fact that they've got a essentially Crusade journal in the initial lineup of products for Dominion gives me hope that it is going to be similar style. All your units, all your units get experience and different stats and skills and stuff, because we really need that in 40k.
Definitely, yeah.
I was a bit worried when they were talking about it that it'd just be like your heroes, but I've got a feeling that it's probably going to copy Crusade, which is not a bad thing.
Well, Crusade works so well in 40k that
Right, there we go. That is a demon spawn completed. She's really cool.
Oh, Andy's got a good one in there. Monsters only count as one model for objectives.
Yeah, that could be something they change, because they could do. I mean, obviously they've got those. We've seen the rules, haven't we, last week, where you've got 4 different abilities that you can trigger in your monsters. And I misread this, Jay, when we were talking about it the other day. So you can do each ability once per phase, not once per game. So if you've got 4 monsters, they can all do these abilities, but they're going to have to do different ones.
Right, okay, yeah.
But you can do them again in a different turn, so that's still fine.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what fun stuff they've got with that. Andy'd also like 40k morale. Grace here says, should Battle Shock change? Perhaps if you win a combat, should casualties affect you less? Should foot characters be able to lead units? That'd be cool. There's quite a few things that let people lend their experience, and I don't think we've seen all the command abilities yet as well. I reckon we're going to see expanded list of new command abilities. Maybe something even to replace the current auto pass Battle Shock one.
Yeah, well, if you think back to old fantasy, there used to be winners of a combat. You used to tally up, didn't you, who'd won the combat, and they would take the leadership test then. So even though you've lost like 10 models, if the opponent had lost 11, you didn't take your leadership test. The enemy lost the combat and then potentially fled from combat.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll go back to something like that. I don't know.
Currently, potentially both units could, in theory, get destroyed by a combat, couldn't they, if they both fail battle shock? Right. I think while we're on a roll, Jay, I want to build Sinessa, the voice of Slaanesh. There's so many bits left over. So over the last few days, I've built Scarbrand, the Great Unclean One, and now the twins. And I've got so many bits left over that I'm thinking, Jay, Corrupted Titans for Adeptus Titanicus.
Oh yeah, nice one.
So weapon arms made out of demon weapons and stuff. I've got me Legio Mortis I'm going to build, and I believe they fell to Nurgle. So yeah, we'll nurgle up some demons. Where are we? So yeah, he's looking cool, Jay. Let me switch over to your camera.
Oh yeah, a good picture of him then for you.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really cool, isn't he? Such an ace model. Have you enjoyed painting him?
I've really enjoyed. I mean, to be fair, I'm really enjoying painting all of the Lumineth models. They're really nice. This particular model, his armor, I've left the armor white because on the Alarith mountain spear, I don't know if you can see very well, but I sort of shaded in all of the swirly patterns on the armor, and I do like that. But it's hard to get right, and I tried it again on my Alarith Stone Guard and Hurricane Wind Chargers, and I wasn't happy with it, so I ended up just painting it white again. So I'm undecided whether to leave just the panels white or to try and shade in those swirly patterns again. I don't know. I do like the way he's looking at the moment, so I think I'm just going to leave it. But we'll see. But yeah, other than that, I'm really enjoying painting them.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Just can't wait to use them again.
Yeah, well, we should. What we plan on doing for 3rd edition, I think, is try and get a lot of games in, 1,000 points, focused on Path to Glory, if it is like Crusade, and try and get as many games in with different armies and focus on not your net lists. We said this on the stream last week when we were playing. What we were playing? Gravelords versus Sylvaneth. And we're of the opinion that a lot of the sites that do battle reports and stuff, you always tend to see the same handful of lists. So we really want to focus on other lists, things that you take because the units are fun, not because they're good necessarily.
Yeah.
And
that
might not be for everybody, but yeah, I think that's more akin to what we'd see as real games of Warhammer, which are casual, friendly games that you have with your friends rather than in a tournament environment. And I think we want to celebrate that side of it because I don't think there's much representation for that out in the hobby. And if you only play tournaments, that's absolutely fine. And we're certainly not winning tournaments, are we?
No, and I find as well there's a lot of units in the book that you just never see because they're not competitive choices. And you may find that yourself, in your local game groups where you only play tournaments that you don't get a chance to try those units out either, but you might want to see them on the battlefield every now and then.
Yeah.
So, that's where our battle report's really good because there may be less competitive options in the book. I mean, Matt's already talking about whether to do Word Bearers or Black Legion, for example, which, are not the strongest Chaos Space Marine legions.
Yeah. So I guess the short version is, if you want to learn how to not win at Warhammer, watch our battle reports. If you want to have some fun and roll some dice, though, it'll be a bit of fun. Dave says, I'm absolutely caving and building a guard army with Gaunt's Ghosts. My 2 dream armies were Skaven.
Crusade, Dave?
Yeah, well, they were assigned to other regiments. So what would you do, Dave? Would you do a Cadian army? With the new Cadian upgrade sprue looks pretty good. You get all the weapon options. That's probably the easiest. Or you could do. Oh, what about a Scion-based army? That'd be cool.
What the thingy blue bloods, weren't they? What were they? I can't remember what they were now in the book. They were like the Scion ones, weren't they?
Yeah.
I can't remember. There's some blue bloods. They're the rivals of Gaunt's Ghost. And you also had the tank company with what was his name? I can't remember now. There was a tank company as well that sort of joined the Ghost. So you could do your Ghost infantry and then just go tank company. I know Dave's wanted to do a tank company for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, you could do a tank company with just them as an attachment, because I think that's how they work. They've just been an elite choice that it's a fixed unit of models. And that'd be really fun. Dave says, do it for Cadia. And Dave says, I think I'm going to let go of my Chaos Marines. I was going to do to help the project along whilst tackling Kragnos and Skaven. You missed the start of the stream, Dave, but I may potentially take those Chaos Space Marines off your hands depending on what you've got. because I'll be doing at some point either a Word Bearers or Black Legion force.
Yeah, here we go. It was the Pardus Armoured Regiment. That was the tank company, and then it was the 50th Volpone or Volpone, which were the Blue Bloods. Yeah, Volpone Blue Bloods, which were like the rivals. General Knocker Sturm from Bernhive in the Vergas War. Yeah, so you could so you could do like your Gaunt's Ghosts as your sort of light scouting infantry with a few sentinels and things like that. All your tanks could be from the 8th Pardus Armoured Regiment, and then your Scions could all be from the Volpone Blood.
Yeah,
and actually, that would be really cool fighting. If you, Matt, you could do your Chaos Space Marines from the Sabbath Crusade.
Oh, that's an amazing idea, Jay. That's an amazing idea. With proper Sabbath Crusade campaign we could do.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can get Dan Abnett on the podcast around then. We
I'll have to see what.
We need to make this happen, don't we?
I'll have a look what orders of the Adeptus Sorry, I can't say it. Sororitas. See which ones of those were flying around.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be really, really cool, wouldn't it? Dave says he'll do Cadians with a fair few Scions. The Cadian kit's quite good because you can paint them as, other regiments, can't you?
You can.
You've seen Chris Peach's Ventrilian Nobles, which are essentially a kit bash between Cadians and Greatswords or something crazy like that, and they look really good. Obviously, there's quite a few battle boxes that are probably still kicking around in some places, Dave, where you can get a load of Cadians cheap as chips as well. I think the latest one was at £100 for, what was it, 2 or 3 Cadian units, command squad, Chimera and a Basilisk or something. And then obviously a couple of blisters of those new upgrade sets, and you've got all your different heads and weapon options and stuff as well. So, yeah, that'd be cool. Steve Harbour says, I'm hoping for kill team rules for Gaunt's Ghost. Absolutely, I'd love to see that. That'd be really fun. I'm feeling this. We're getting excited about Sigmar, but I'm really into doing a Sabbath Crusade campaign. Yes, let's do that. Crusade, Sabbath Worlds Crusade for 40k as a little palette cleanser in between our Age of Sigmar stuff this year. I'm sold. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. I'm up for that.
And that fits your sisters as well because they can slot in there quite nicely, can't they?
Yeah, well, it was Saint Sabbath, wasn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a new edition of the. Yeah, I think there's a new edition of the Sabbath Crusade kind of guide up for pre-order next week as well, which I've been tempted by in the past. I think we've been to Warlord a few times when they've had that on sale. The big kind of source book. I'm just blindly cutting out parts there without even paying attention. I've got to it so excited. That is part 4. Can't do that.
I'm gonna have to read the series again. I never actually finished it. I read a lot of it, but I never actually finished it.
I've not read it for a long time. Back like when I started the hobby, we're talking.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're on Audible. They must be on Audible, isn't they?
Oh yeah, it's got to be on Audible.
I've got some credits. I might have to.
I've got I was waiting for the latest Horus Mortis. I think that's out now.
It's out now. Yeah, they was for some reason it was a couple of weeks late. It is now, as of Saturday, maybe available on Audible. Yeah. Really
I need to listen to that first, but then I think I might have to start listening to the Gaunt's Ghost series again.
Yeah, Dave, you come on here as an enabler, getting us to start new projects. Shocking. You're normally the one keeping us in check, Dave. I'm kind of excited that Dave's doing a Astra Militarum army.
Yeah.
For the sole reason that Dave can never say Astra Militarum. You'll have to practice, Dave.
The Guard.
The Guard, yeah. Would you go for a custom chapter, regiment, I guess?
For the
Guard? The Tanith first and only, there's so few of them, they're only attached to regiments, aren't they? So the whole army wouldn't be gone.
It was one company, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, but you'd never have the whole kind of, there'd only be like a regiment attached to another army, so the whole army wouldn't be kind of Tanith themed. So yeah, I think you've got the best idea Jay, and go kind of old school kind of military history and have different kind of regiments within with their own kind of regimental banners and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I would definitely do. There's that many cool regiments, and then in your Crusades, like if you take the Volborn Blue Bloods as your scions, and then in the Crusade, you've got that friendly competition between regiments, and you can really play in that with the narrative, can't you? And the Volpoons as well, they didn't like the guards, at least the Ghost used to stitch them up. So you might be playing a mission where you sacrifice a unit of Gaunt's Ghosts so the Volporn can get a objective, and one of the what are they called? They are objectives in Crusade, or are there something else in Crusade?
I forget now. Something. Yeah. Let's call them objectives, but I think you're right. I think there's a different.
Yeah, so that you could really go to town with the narrative with a Gaunt's Ghost themed Imperial Guard army.
You know what? We could also do something on the site, like in the Imperial Armor books, where it's like a mock historical kind of look back at it. We could do that. That'd be really fun.
Yep.
Dave says, I think Crusade for Guard, based on what we've seen, will be fantastic. I absolutely agree. I love the Guard, and if we get new Catechins at some point, I'm completely on board. I wouldn't do a Acadian one, just because I've done Acadian army before, and I just have no desire right now to paint a load of Acadians. Though the new heads and weapons and stuff look cool on the new upgrade sprue, and I've got a Deathcore Krieg army, so that kind of is my Imperial Guard fix at the minute. But yeah, I think there'd be some fun to be had. And we've got a new Acadian sprue. You've got Gaunt's Ghosts. It can't be that too far on the horizon. Realistically, I mean, it's delayed a little bit due to COVID, but realistically, over the next 12 months, I think we're going to see a lot of codexes, even if it's just a codex and no new kits. Bringing them up to date with 9th edition.
Yeah. Now, I'll be a little bit disappointed from an Eldar point.
Harry H. Thank you for following, Harry.
Hi, Harry.
Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd be a little bit disappointed with an army like Eldar, because obviously, if you look at Sisters now, Sisters are getting their second codex in 2 years, and they're getting a whole load of new kits spread over a couple of weeks of orders. So I'd be a bit gutted if Eldar didn't get anything, and just a codex refresh, because it's been a while since they had a codex anyway.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since they've had any new kits. But, I don't know, you could be right, I mean...
I think Eldar are a contender for... a fairly big wave, like we've seen with the Orcs, where maybe over a couple of years we see the aspects slowly redone.
Yeah.
Where it's armies like we know Zincha coming up, Thousand Suns. They've had some recent waves, haven't they? So that's really just going to be the character out of the battle box and a book. And to be fair, Daemons have had so many kits since that book came out. It's just going to be Be'lakor, all the new Slaanesh stuff. Maybe stick the twins in as new kind of demon prints for them. But I wouldn't expect any new kits coming out alongside that. So I think Eldar are probably a contender for having a big wave of models. Unfortunately, that means it's probably going to be further out than some of the other ones, though.
A way out, yeah.
Because, and again, everything might be different, but traditionally, you kind of see January, you get a big army release because people have got Christmas money to burn. In the summer, you see a new edition come out, and new editions have tended to have a new race as part of them. So that'll be kind of your second big release of the year. And then just prior to Christmas, you tend to get a big wave as well because people have got stuff to spend on Christmas. Outside that, you don't tend to see many massive releases, do you? It'll be a kit or two.
Yeah.
Now, again, with the new warehouse and factory upgrades and stuff, and once we're on the other side of COVID... who knows? Maybe we'll get to the point where every release is a massive release. It's really hard to predict at the minute because I guess Games Workshop are unpredictable in their releases at the minute, aren't they?
They are, yeah. This is true.
But yeah, exciting time for the hobby regardless. So yeah, so your current thoughts are your Sisters and your Lumineth then, Jay, and then Sisters will tie nicely to this little crusade we'll do.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. What we might have to do, Dave, if we haven't got a guard book, is come up with some kind of crusade content of our own for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we
I
could
wonder
pen
what their
something
crusade
between us.
mechanic will be.
Kind of like military honours, maybe.
Yeah.
Battlefield promotions, that kind of stuff. Have them as as veterans of Crusades. Yeah, that'd be cool. Harry H says, hello, hope all is well, guys. I think I'm going to get on board with the Tale of Sprues with some Soul Blight Gravelords. Amazing.
Cool.
Can't wait to see them, Harry. Make sure you tag him on Facebook or Twitter with the hashtag Tale of Sprues. Or, if you haven't got social media or you don't like using it, just send them to spruesbrews@gmail.com and we'll stick them on there. He's also looking forward to the PSU tournament in September. What army are you bringing? You had your Sylvaneth last time, if I remember rightly, when I was playing you last.
I did. I took myself.
Harry had his Sylvaneth.
Oh, sorry.
When I was playing with Archeon. I don't think I played against you. You were using dwarves in that tournament, I think, Jay.
The last tournament was dwarfs. Yeah, I took Sylvaneth in every tournament prior to that.
Pesky trees.
Yeah, I beat the Idenef with the Sylvaneth. Actually, I remember.
Amazing.
I think, but then I didn't do very well against anyone else.
Against any proper players.
Yeah.
Harry won the wooden spoon last time. It was a gorgeous army, though, yeah. Harry. I can't help but feel your tree is getting absolutely abused by Archeon. Probably didn't help. But then I got beaten by Kerry in the following game by having Archeon killed by a grot. So, it swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
Well, I think the Sylvaneth are going to be back with a vengeance with 3rd edition.
I think you might be right.
Scrolls, very good.
Yeah, I'm very... there's going to be spoilers here. The book's out now, so it's fine. Obviously, the Oak of Ages Past has regrown, and it's alluded to. I mean, she says Athel Loren in the book, so I don't think it's even alluded to. That the let's call it the birthplace of the Wood Elves has regrown in the Mortal Realms, which is super exciting from a lore perspective. I mean, as much as I like to take the piss out of Jay, my first army was Wood Elves, so I have got a bit of a soft spot if Athel Loren comes back, just because it gives me hope for one day we'll get a new Orion model.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how the Kernothi fit into all that, because we've speculated in the past that whether it be a standalone army or part of the Sylvaneth. I think the revelations in Broken Realms with the Oak of Ages and all that coming back, I think that now really strongly puts the Kernothi as part of the Sylvaneth.
Yeah, which I would like because it allows you to mix and match them. It allows you to focus one faction over the other. Yeah. In a single battle tome.
And that allows it to be thematically old school Wood Elves, doesn't it? You've still got the spirits, you've still got essentially the elves, but aesthetically they've got a nice new Age of Sigmar look then, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see equivalents to Way Watchers and Glade Guard in various Kernothi units. I think that'd be ace.
Yep.
So again, don't know how far that is off. Obviously Grungni's back, so we've speculated, could that be part of the Stormcast wave, because essentially he's working with Sigmar, or could we see a big reunited dwarf faction, which is heavily hinted to in Broken Realms Be'lakor, that he's kind of getting all the dwarves together. So I think we're going to see loads of cool stuff in 3rd edition. I can't wait to get that rule book, because that's where we're going to see some hints of the future, isn't it? Like the 40k one, there's a big 2-page spread on Armageddon, and we still haven't seen that in 9th edition yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
So Andy says that the AOS event only seems like a few months ago. I believe it was January last year.
Oh dear.
Time flies, eh? I do thoroughly enjoy it. If anyone is close to the Cheshire area, if you check out the Purple Sparkly Unicorns, they are on Facebook. Andy, you should have permission to throw that link into the chat as well if you've got it to hand. The guys, Andy's one of them, they do a few regular events and event nights, obviously when the world's back to normal. And yeah, really, really fun. Nice mix of different people there. If you've not done a tournament or something before, I'd highly recommend them because they're a nice bunch of guys, aren't they, Jay?
Yeah, definitely. I love those tournaments. I can't wait to the one in September.
Yeah. Oh, if you any thoughts at all on what you're bringing? Yeah, is it going to be the Lumineth or are you going to?
It's definitely gonna be Lumineth.
Oh, definitely
yeah,
the Lumineth. Okay.
Yeah. On that, definitely Lumineth.
Definitely. Unless there's a new.
There's only a couple of other Age of Sigmar armies that I really want to build. One of them is Kenofi, and one of them is Dwarfs. And I can't see us getting Kenofi and Dwarfs before September.
No.
So it's going to be Lumineth.
Because realistically, we got I think we got four or five 40k books last year, but like most of them were Space Marine supplements, weren't they?
Yeah.
So what are we on? We're on June. Game's out in July. I think we'll see a couple of months, and then maybe August we see the Battle Tomes, which are probably going to be Stormcast. And then the question is, do we get a Cruel Boys book, or, as has been alluded to a few times by the Warcamp stuff, a new Uruk War Clans book that folds in the Cruel Boys?
Which would tie in well with the rumours that Fire Slayers and Caradrons are going into one book.
And of course, it might all be bobbins, but it fits to me. I think that'd be a good thing. Gives you more variety for your army, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So we'll see them come out August maybe, and that gives us a couple of months. We know there's a big Orc wave coming, so if we see the Orc box in July, that could be the big September release Orcs, or do they go October? We know that we've got a battle box with Grey Knights and Thousand Suns coming along, so that really only leaves the kind of like maybe November for a big army release for Sigmar. And again, that could be something like Kernothi, but obviously we haven't seen any previews that far in the future, have we? They tend to only show stuff 3 months out, so I think the next preview show that they do, by then we might even have a proper physical show we can go to. But I think that one will show some exciting stuff then, won't it?
Yeah. So based on all that, definitely Lumineth.
Yeah. And I'll 99% sure I'll be bringing the Grave Lords. If I get too excited building and painting these demons, I might bring a Legion of the First Prince. But the vampires, I think, perform pretty well. I think a decent list. I think they've got some legs, the vampires. Harry says, Blood Knights are beautiful sculpts, but leaning into Viacos, all those lovely heroes and direwolf heavy. Yeah, I think the Viacos is the way to go with this book. If only for the +1 to wound on your infantry units. It makes zombies competent and it makes Graveguard scary good. Immortan Joe, good evening ladies and gentlemen. What are we all working on? Hey Immortan Joe, I am building Sinessa, the voice of Slaanesh. I started off the stream by finishing off Dexessa, these names, the Talon of Slaanesh. I've left the peacock tail bit separate for ease of painting on that one. But other than that, not much in the way of sub-assemblies. I don't think the dress gets in the way too much, and the bits that are going to be inaccessible with a paintbrush are going to be black anyway, so yeah, fine. Andy says, ooh, very interesting. Yeah, I like Viacos with some skeletons and wolves as fast-moving objective takers. Wolves are pretty good. I like the wolves. Belladamma being able to cast her mortal wound stealing spell and turning models in the enemy target unit into wolves is really good as well. Say for example, everybody's favourite unit, the Lumineth shooty boys, what are they called?
Sentinels.
Doing D3 mortal wounds on them and turning 3 of them into wolves. Suddenly they can't shoot your army, they've got to shoot the wolves.
Yeah, that's very good.
So yeah, I think we're handy. Same with like Caradron and stuff. Yeah, interesting. I don't know how that interacts with garrisoned units. I guess it'd still work, but they'd be outside the garrison, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I think we'll see a few for some of the weird interactions that we've seen, like with your Lumineth Shrine as well. There's a few weird interactions on how that works. I think all that will become clear in the 3rd edition rulebook, won't it?
Well, they've promised an unambiguous rule set, haven't they? So
they have, yeah. So
that's a big promise to make.
it's a big promise to make. Yeah, we'll see. See what happens. I hope it is.
Yeah.
Harry H says, thinking of picking up the start collecting for the Graveguard and that awesome White King. Dodgy roll. I almost pulled the trigger on that set just for the White King. So I bought it because, same as you guys, I wanted a big unit of Graveguard and it didn't work out that much more. In fact, it might have been slightly cheaper to buy that rather than 2 boxes of Graveguard. The what are they called? Death Riders? I can't remember what they're called. The normal cavalry are fairly
Death
rubbish.
Knights.
Death Knights, yeah.
Death Knights.
I don't think we're called Death Knights. Anyway, the cavalry are fairly rubbish.
Black Knights.
Black Knights, that's it. The cavalry are fairly rubbish, unless of course there's some like I don't know cavalry keyword rules that we've not seen yet in 3rd edition, maybe, which makes them really good. But the White King's a really nice model, and the White King is still worth taking as your leader, because in your Viacos, most of those named characters count as your general in addition to your general. So you're not really, unless obviously you can take a generic vampire or a vampire lord and zombie dragon and get some cool command abilities. It's not the end of the world if you make that White King your general, because you unlock Graveguard as battle line, which means that if you want to, you could just go entirely Graveguard and not take the zombies, not take the skeletons. It's going to be more expensive, but arguably it's a more elite, powerful force. We saw how hard those guys hit over the weekend, didn't we?
Yep.
Off the top of my head, you obviously have a lot less models because the other 2 are dirt cheap, but you've got a few options. You can give them shields and give them a 4+ save as well if you want like a kind of anvil unit. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they're quite old models and they're the most frustrating models I've built for a long time. Just because they're quite dated in the way, everything goes together really nicely nowadays, doesn't it? And they're a little bit fiddly to build compared to the skeletons and the zombies. But ability-wise, I think they're pretty good. Immortan Joe has been building Ephriel Stern and Jay, you can take your
I could take the Harlequin.
Harlequin.
She's got on the list. Yeah, I'm ordering that in a second.
I can't believe we've not thought of that. So when the guys were around here in the garden yesterday playing some Sigmar and Jay, you very quickly kind of decided you were buying an entire Sisters of Battle army, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I can't believe it didn't even the pariah characters didn't even come up, did they? Yeah.
And she's not a special, because I really like that. Is her name Tariana Palas, the limited edition Sisters model that came out at October last year, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be one of the show only models, wasn't it? And they released it as a special made to order, didn't they?
Yeah, and I had one in a box unbuilt, and I never did anything with it, and I sold it a while back now. But now I want to do a Sisters army. I really want that model, so I'm trying to find that model at a reasonable price on eBay. It's very tricky. But yeah, I completely forgot about her. She's just a generally available model, isn't she? Oh yeah, I'm ordering her. Her with a Harlequin. That Harlequin is awesome. So yeah, I'm basically doing 2 armies for one. I'm doing a Harlequin army and a Sisters Battle army. That's awesome.
There you go. Yeah, Immortan Joe, you've just made Jay's day. Yeah, and you get your Harlequin fixed too. Brilliant.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to see all the stuff that we're working on and play some games. It was fun playing yesterday though. I think that's the first time for a long time that we've all seen each other as well, like in person.
Yeah, all 3 of us. Yeah, no, it was cool.
We were talking this week. Are we ever going to go back to a physical podcast, being in person again? Because it does actually work quite well remotely. But I don't know. I always used to like our weekly kind of hang out and talk Warhammer. Being painting and building models together is something we used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
I have missed that. What about you guys in the chat? Is there anything that you've missed over the last 18 months now, something like that? It's been a long time, maybe a bit less than that, but we're getting there. Yeah. Immortan Joe says, I bought them on a whim whilst waiting for the terminal in the GW store to start working. Pre-orders, yeah. Hey, that's a good model to buy on a whim. They'll be fun to paint up. Is she? I think she's Order of the Martyred Lady, the black scheme, isn't it? And that's what you're
That's the
going for,
one.
isn't it, Jay?
That's the one I'm going for. Yeah, so she'll fit in. Oh yeah, Brill. All right, yeah, she's. I'll be adding her to my basket shortly.
You've managed to buy an awful lot of stuff.
She's a psyker, isn't she, as well?
She's a filthy psyche, yeah.
Oh, excellent.
I assume, obviously we've not seen the new book yet because it didn't arrive on time. I assume she'll be in the new book. He might be in the book as well. But yeah, that is one of your few kind of psyche choices available because, you know, traditionally they burn that kind of person, don't they?
Yeah.
Shocks. Dave says apologies, had to feed the little man. No worries at all, Dave. Good to have you back.
Dave calls his belly the little man. That's odd.
Dodgy Roller, I miss Throne of Skulls. Dave misses Throne of Skulls too. Harry, just getting a bit more to grips with playing. Not played in ages, so look forward to any kinds of games soon. We had the very same problem yesterday because obviously the last time we really kind of were able to play a lot together was 9th edition 40k, wasn't it? Which we absolutely hammered because we were doing, you know, review content and crusade content and all that kind of stuff. So it's taken a little bit of a while relearning how to play Sigmar for the 2nd edition, considering in a week or two we'll all be playing 3rd edition. We'll have to relearn that. We'll get back to grips with it, won't we? Everyone will be back playing games soon. I mean, it's looking less and less likely that the UK is going to reopen on the 21st of June now, but at least, you know, if the rule is 6 days and we can still see people indoors, and if the weather stays like this, it was quite pleasant playing games in the garden, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's my preferred way of playing Warhammer at the minute when the weather's nice. We're about maybe getting a bit of a gazebo or something.
Yeah.
So Dodgy Roller says, I've only played one game of AOS in almost 13 months. Yeah. We were trying to work out. I mean, we've managed to play a few, haven't we? I played your Lumineth with the Legion of the First Prince. I think pretty much the weekend we were allowed to, Jay. And I played Dave's Ogres with an army of some description. Can't even remember. Sons of Behemat. That was fun.
Yep.
And then before that, it was Sons of Behemat versus Iron Jaws on the release weekend of the Sons of Behemat back in October, I want to say. And before that, it's probably the tournament where Harry, Andy, Kerry, all the guys were.
We had some Garden Hammer in Chief of Unicorns.
We did. Yes, we did. We were playing. Oh, yes, we were, because the General's Handbook 2020 had just come out.
Yeah. That was my last game, Sylvaneth there.
That's a long time
ago. And then obviously Lumineth against you.
So yeah, that's like a year ago, Jay.
Yeah, well, that's bonkers, isn't it?
Yep. But we'll make up for it this year, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Morton just says, well, you say potato. She is definitely not heretical in any way. I don't know. She kind of is a little bit, you know, being a witch and all. She's a cool model, though. And
she's a nice model.
I can't believe we've forgotten about her, Jay.
No, I can't believe I forgot. Yeah, well, I mean...
This is part of the problem, though, because my Sisters of Battle, I finished literally the weekend before lockdown because I used them in that tournament at the Unicorns, which was the final Saturday the world was open, and I haven't used them since then. I think we might have done a battle report.
I think you've used them against the Admech, haven't you, once?
Yeah, I think that was a Crusade game. Possibly went up the day Indomitus came out, so that's like a year ago as well. And then soon after we did all that Indomitus content, the UK was back in lockdown again, wasn't it? So it's been a funny one. I'm sure every review I've done over the last 12 months has ended with we can't wait till we can do content again. So we can do that now. So that is super good. Steve Harbour, since this shenanigans started, I've only painted nearly 4 armies and played one game. Yeah, at least you've got some armies painted. That's good.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's it. In terms of armies, I've got me Adeptus Titanicus painted. I got 5,000 points of Ultramarines painted.
Yeah.
Lumineth had good progress on that. Blood Angels have started. The Tau Supremacy Suit thing finished off.
Yeah.
So it's been good in that regard, but then not even used any of it. I mean, we've been waiting for a game of Adeptus Titanicus now for so long, Matt.
We need to do that. Should we do that next?
We could do that next, couldn't we? I
We
mean,
might have a busy schedule website-wise the next week or so, but
Yeah.
I think when we can, we'll schedule it in the diary. I think that'd be fun. Would you guys like to see a live battle of Adeptus Titanicus? It might be a little bit rusty.
Very rusty.
But we should. You know that third camera? I could put that on the terminals, Jay.
Okay.
And then we could see, like,
Oh, yeah.
damage and stuff. I think we can. Trying to work out the logistics of it in this room. Yeah, we can definitely do Titanicus because it's a 4x4 board.
Yeah, it's only a small board.
So we can have the main camera isometric like we did in the last one. We have a camera on the dice tray, camera on the terminals, and we can move that terminal camera just to see what's going on. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, cool. Sounds like a plan.
So yeah, and for the lives, we were having a chat because obviously it was a bit of a last minute affair, that one, wasn't it? We're thinking that for future ones, we're going to try using a proper mic on a boom so you can hear Jay, because we had some feedback that obviously I had a headset on and Jay didn't, so he was probably very muffled. So we'll have the proper microphone on another device. We'll trip over something, but it'll be fine. We'll tape it all down. We'll have another microphone set up so you can hear both of us, and then if Dave's available as well, he can man this very desk here and control all the cameras and speak to you lovely people in the chat as well. So that'll be a bit of fun. Harry says Belladammer, Kritzer and Big Rad. Big Rad being sprayed. Kritzer is really good. He's like 95 points. He's a bargain, but he puts out a surprising amount of damage.
Or is he like? Has he got a 4, 3+3+? AP Ren -1, D3 damage.
Yeah, it's pretty good. No magic, but his main gimmick is if he dies each turn on a 4+, he comes back anywhere on the battlefield outside of 9 inches. So it's not even grave sites. It's really, really good because you can take somebody unawares and steal an objective, especially in those scenarios where only heroes steal. Now, obviously, we don't know what General's Handbook 21 is going to look like, but if there's more scenarios like that, then those characters that can do things like that will be really, really good. Andy says, I'd love to see some small, big robots. Yeah. Well, I've got Legio Ignatum painted. You've got Legio Tempestus?
Gryphonicus.
And I've got a Mortis army to build as well because I've been trying to get, I don't know if he's still watching, trying to get Dave to play some Adeptus Titanicus, and I thought, best way to do that, let's build a second Maniple. And then we've got a few different forces for battle reports and stuff then as well. So yeah, that'd be cool. Right, we've got a dress. I need to tidy up this a little bit. Let's get some sandpaper. She's coming together. Yeah, I was a bit intimidated by this model when I first opened it because there's lots of little fiddly pieces, and the next step, to be fair, does have some fiddly bits. But I mean, this one, what? We're an hour and a half into the chat and I've finished one and done majority of the body on another one. That's pretty good going for a big kit, isn't it?
Yep, definitely.
So really, really well designed. Goes together so nicely. So yeah, very impressed with this. I hope we do see some kind of 40k rules for them. I know it is an Age of Sigmar kit, but if there's, even if it's like a Demon Prince kind of profile that you used them or something like that, I'm sure. As far as I'm aware, every other demon model has got rules in 40k as well, so I'm sure they'll be able to do something with her, won't they? And she stands as well, perfect. So what have we got next? Oh, okay. So now it's the super fiddly bit where we're building awkward little hands and little claws, and I'm going to lose a load of parts. So let's start snipping those out. Let's put her to one side. How are we all doing in the chat? Everyone doing okay? What are you guys working on? I see we've got quite a few people watching now, so don't be scared. Shout up, say hello, introduce yourself, let us know what you're working on because we're nosy basically and want to see what you're painting as well.
It seems like the Soul Blight Gravelords have been pretty popular then. Quite a few people doing armies of them.
Yeah, well, I think I know on a lot of like Element games have been sold out, haven't they? A lot of them are on delayed dispatch. Now, part of that is due to, I know there are some current ongoing supply issues from Games Workshop, but I think part of that supply problem is the fact that all the recent releases have been super popular, so they literally can't make it quick enough, which is a good sign for the game. It shows that it's popular.
Yeah.
I think the Gravelords resonated with a lot of people because while a lot of the Age of Sigmar stuff's got a different aesthetic to the old world, hasn't it? The vampires, while having some different bits, obviously with all the kind of wolf vibes and stuff, I think we have still got a lot of old school kind of like old world references in there.
Yeah.
They've not gone too outlandish with the vampires, have they? They're still your gothic things that go bump in the night army, aren't they?
Yeah. The new zombies are ace as well. Like the kit is really good. I know they've got good rules, but the actual model kit is very good.
Yeah, they are.
For
And there's so
something
many
like a
different
zombie,
sculpts as well, isn't there?
yeah. I mean, these are just like your chief throwaway units, but they're really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
And I like the skeletons as well. And I mean, I think the zombies are nice, and I think they're mortal wound and big blocks. They're quite tough, but I actually think the skeletons are better. That 4+
come back, yeah. They're more like the
back.
Necrons, aren't they? So if you
Yeah.
don't know, anyone who's not read the book yet, they're a strange unit because really you want them to get attacked first, and then when they come to pile in, any models that have already died that phase. Ooh, we've got a new follower. Fear Santana is now following. Thank you very much for the follow. Yeah, so any model that has died already this phase on a 4+ comes back to life, which is crazy good. What makes it even better, if you take a Necromancer and cast, what's it called now? The spell that lets them fight again. Dance Macabre. Van Hell's Dance Macabre lets them fight again. Obviously, in that second fight, they pile in again, so any models that have died in that phase, you roll a 4+ and they come back. So you can easily get a whole unit back, or at least a big chunk of a unit back, and they hit a little bit harder than the zombies as well, especially if you've got a vampire near them in a Viacos list to give them that +1 to wound as well, which makes them. Yeah, I rate the skeletons. They are very good. Zombies are good for dealing with more units that you want to kill with mortal wounds.
Yeah, well,
But
I
you
mean,
can't count on it because it's 1 in 6 chance, isn't it?
it is, and they've only got a 1-inch range on their attacks, so you're only going to get so many of them in. So yeah, I think they're a trap myself.
If you're fishing for mortal wounds, you want to do it with the Graveguard because they've got a better stat line. So even the ones that don't cause mortal wounds, at least are still a threat, aren't they?
Yeah, doing some damage. Yeah.
So yeah. But no, they're all cool units. I mean, the models are. I don't think there's a bad model in the range. Even though I know the bats aren't. People don't like them from a rules point of view. Again, I think the bats have got a purpose for a 75-point unit with fly is handy for moving around, grabbing objectives.
You just tag that objective, then the opponent has to deal with them.
Yeah,
You know,
and
you can't just leave them. So
yeah, I think they're fun. Vulnerable Gamer 4, evening guys, currently painting Imelda from Curse City. Haven't heard you mention your resolutions in the podcast recently. How are they doing? Well, Jay, you were just chatting about this earlier on in the show. So can you even, I can't remember my resolutions. I think mine were work on my painting with different techniques and styles I haven't done. I think I've done that pretty well. Painted Horus. I've tried to do that is I'm very much a batter through an army as quick as I can kind of guy. Horus, I spent a couple of weeks doing him and making sure that I got the face right and getting all the detail on there. So that was my first one.
also your airbrush as well. You've been using your
I've been
airbrush.
using that, yep. So doing different techniques. I'd have liked to have been able to enter a tournament, not a tournament, like a painting competition, and do a model specifically for that. But obviously at the minute, that's not really been possible, which is a shame. My second one was make sure we're putting out weekly videos of some description. I think we've done that, to be fair. There might be the odd week where combination of me being on my deathbed after me COVID vaccination, I think it's possible. Other than that, I think we've always got out either a review or a painting stream or a game each week. I think we've done better at this year than we have any other year, haven't we?
Definitely.
And then the third one was do a lot of narrative-based stuff, which again has really been waiting on us being able to game again and do Crusade. I wanted to write like kind of lore and background, and I haven't done that yet because we haven't really managed to play any games of Crusade yet this year, have we?
No, not
So
really.
hopefully, if we do this Sabbath Crusade thing, I'll be able to do that. And obviously, if Sigmar has got this Path to Glory in a similar style to Crusade, then definitely be able to do that as well. How about you, Jay? How have you got on with yours?
So I think my New Year's resolution was to not start a new army. So it was to work on my Lumineth and work on my Blood Angels. And that is exactly what I've done. So I have been working all year on my Lumineth, and I'm just chipping away at them. I'm currently working on Sephiroth, and I think once he's painted, it's going to take me to over 2,000 points painted, with various options for lists. But still, probably I'd say I'm halfway through my army. There's still some more infantry I want to paint. There's a lot of cavalry I want to paint, and a couple of characters still that I want to paint. So I've still got some work to do, and a scenery piece, Matt, before you jump in.
Yeah.
Blood Angels, I did a lot on the Blood Angels. I got a couple of units painted, I got a character painted, I got 2 dreadnoughts painted, but then I got a bit fed up of painting red, so I put them down. But I haven't started any new armies until now. I am about to start a Sisters of Battle army for our new Crusade.
Yeah.
But I think I'm okay with that. I haven't got a pile of models I've bought and not painted. I haven't got new armies that I've bought and started and not finished.
I think I'd give you a pass for that. Bearing in mind that you also bought that sister launch box with the intent of doing an army at some point anyway.
Yeah.
So I think you've done really well at resisting. Oh, we all do it. New shiny models come out and we buy an army.
Yeah.
you're considering what, like June now, and
I'll say, well, halfway through the year.
The first non Lumineth thing that you've bought of these sisters. Yeah, I think that's pretty good going, Jay. What were your other two? Can you remember?
I can't remember what the other two were. I better go and find out because I need to try and win this year.
You do. Have you won one yet?
One of them. No, I don't think so. I'm not very good at winning resolutions, but I'm good at winning. I'm good at winning quizzes.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have been one of my New Year's resolutions.
We should. I think. I forget now. Dave had a really good year. Dave had a really good year, didn't he? And he won all 3 of them. So I think we made a bit of a pact between us that.
Yeah.
At least we have to beat Dave. I can't remember what Dave's. I know Dave's one of them was his paint at least a unit every week.
That was it, yeah.
Which
and I think he went for a stage where he was building up credit.
He was, yeah.
It's not going to work well for him.
And there was a week where we'll give him a pass, and then it was like, okay. Yeah. I think basically he needs to paint like 3 armies this week to be to still win his thing. So I think it's safe to say Dave's failed that one. But to be fair, Dave has painted an awful lot of stuff this year.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say that Dave, as I think, if there was a most improved award for painting quality and quantity, Dave would get it out of the 3 of us for sure.
You know what we should do? This might be a bit of fun. Should we do an end of year award ceremony? And have some fun stuff and get the chat and the podcast listeners to vote on, like, we'll make some fun categories. What do you think?
Do that. Let's have a look. We can plan something. The Christmas special. I'm assuming we've got a 200 anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
Would that be next year?
Oh, I've got a notepad. Probably just out of reach.
We're at about 150 now, aren't we, or something?
So we are on, if I get the fabled, into the second notepad now, so I'm going to guess that means we're on about 150 something. Yeah. So last episode was 140. So this is the secret book where the podcast notes get scribbled down in. So 10 episodes, we're episode 150. That seems like a benchmark one, doesn't it? We could maybe have a quiz then. Bit of a milestone, 150. Alternatively, we wait until episode 200, which will be like a year away.
Yeah, let's wait till episode 200.
We're waiting until episode 200.
For the quiz, yeah. Then you've got a whole year's worth, 100 episodes worth of trivia to catch Dave out with.
That's true. That's what it boils down to. This is fiddly. So I'm trying to make sure I've got the right pieces, but I must do. She's essentially gripping this scepter, and it's really fiddly. Is that a bit of sprue that needs cutting off, maybe? Yeah, these. I take it back. A minute ago when I said this is a dead easy model to build, I see it goes around that way. They are a little bit fiddly, but it's one of those kits where if you've got any bit of sprue on there, it isn't going to fit perfectly. So while I think I've cleaned that bit, I'm doubting myself now. There's a little like overhang of a rigid plastic that's making it not sit flush. It should be right now. Immortan Joe watched a Soulblight battle report by Tabletop Titans, and the skeletons seem very, very resilient, especially with the Dance Macabre. Yeah, so that's the thing. If you let your opponent fight first, and then fight with them, on average half of them come back, and then cast Van Hells to make another half of them come back, well, you could potentially be back on a full strength unit again, which is super frustrating for your opponent. And you know, from an objectives point of view, say I'm fighting Jay, and Jay takes out almost all my unit, but doesn't destroy it. But then I bring back half of them when they pile in, and then another half again. Suddenly, Jay could have thinned out my whole unit, but I've still got more bodies on there for the purposes of objectives. And then just throw you're probably going to have a massive battle shock on them, because models that have died still count to your battle shock. But you just use a command point.
Around that.
Yeah, exactly. Use a command point and also pass it.
Plan for that, don't you? I honestly think they are the better unit out of them and the zombies. I think the zombies are cool, but like you say, there's better options I think for fishing for mortals. And yeah. I think you're going to be hindered by. I mean, they've got the 6-inch piling, I suppose, which is handy for them.
It is, and it means you have to charge with them as well. You can be sneaky, run up, and then you're within 6 inches. And your opponent's got to be careful. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? With you got to be careful with where you remove models and where you pile in. You've got to keep an eye on that 6-inch for those zombies, because they could catch you unawares and suddenly pile onto an objective. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. You can. A lot of people immediately, and I did it as well, immediately jumped on the zombies being, oh my god, these are amazing. But at the minute, I'm favouring Graveguard over the pair of them.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, if you want a horde army, you're going to be more zombie heavy. If you have the equivalent points of Graveguard, you have a lot less models, though arguably the better performing models. So yeah, there's lots of factors in there. So yeah, dodgy roller. I'm currently on 4 out of 15 on my list, and it's not going well. I should stop painting Mega Gargant soon and catch up with the Middle Earth stuff. Yeah, we need to have a game of Middle Earth, Andy. I know we were on about this probably last year, and we haven't had the chance yet. I painted a what have we got here? I see. Okay, I painted a Dunland army. I think we went to Warhammer World Christmas 2019 and picked up a load of Middle Earth stuff, Jay, and we had a game. We're like, oh yeah, Middle Earth's great. And then lockdown happened, and we haven't really played any Middle Earth since.
Again, it's one of those things that suffered on it because of lockdown.
Yeah, we had high hopes back in early 2020 of being able to do all these games, but unfortunately, events have got that scuppered. But we'll get there. I think as soon as things all open up properly, we're going to be having so many games, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we've already had quite a few, haven't we, since we've been able to.
Take advantage, yeah.
Yeah. Harry, you're going to be using oil paints for the Soulblight. Been practicing them, and they can do some really cool, quick stuff. Oh, yeah, Harry, you've got to send us some images of that, because I'd be interested in seeing what you can do with oil paints. That sounds really interesting. I know people use them for, like, military modelling. I think there's some really fun stuff you can do. Have you ever used any oil paints for hobby stuff, Jay?
No, I haven't. I think it's similar to like an airbrush, isn't it? It's a different sort of technique you have to master.
Medium, yeah.
So I haven't, no.
I'm still surprised you haven't bought an airbrush, Jay.
Yeah, the thing that puts me off the airbrush is not so much the learning curve, because you put the time into that. It's the sort of overhead of using it on a regular basis. I unfortunately, with kids and full-time job, you try and grab your painting time when you can. And you have to factor in setting up the airbrush, taking down the airbrush, cleaning the airbrush, and it eats into that sort of spontaneous sort of. I think if you know you can dedicate a Friday evening, a Saturday evening to your painting every week, then that's what's put me off. So I just find this is much more convenient and easier to use the regular brushes and whatnot. So
if I swing this over, my airbrush, kind of just lives over there, permanently set up. So there's not so much taking it down, putting it back up again, though cleaning it does take a long time. And I guess if you've got the boys in bed, you can have the airbrush kind of rumbling away at night, could you?
Yeah, that's it. So, but I mean, there's some people get some. I mean, even yourself, you've done some amazing work with the airbrush. So I can definitely see the benefit of an airbrush. And I'm pretty sure my Lumineth would have been long finished by now.
Yeah. I mean,
but,
for basing when the weather's not good, it's a godsend, isn't it? Now, people have asked me in the past on our Twitter and stuff, why I still use a rattle can. If I'm just basing some models, it's quicker to just go outside and spray them with a rattle can, because I don't have to spend then half an hour cleaning the airbrush, because that black, grab it, I use Vallejo. And essentially this cures into a plastic coating, which gives you a really nice kind of painting surface, and it kind of fills any gaps, and it's a really nice surface to paint on. But this does clog up your airbrush if you don't clean it straight away, because essentially it's a layer of plastic that you're spraying on your model. So if I'm just spraying one or two things, I'll just get the trusty painting stick out, blue tack some models onto it and take it outside and spray them with a rattle can, just because it's quicker. If I'm doing like a big project with a load of stuff though, or quite kind of intricate stuff, then I'll use the airbrush. It's one of those, there's not a right or wrong way of doing things, is there? It's just different tools for different jobs. Back in the day, I don't know if you did this, Jay, when you started out, but back in the day I've been known to prime things by hand.
No, I have never done that actually. But back in the day when I first started, I never used to prime at all. So
there you go then. Yeah, smelly primer Games Workshop used to sell. I think they still do. And
I remember
brush on primer. I was mad. I mean, that's why I don't want to do these Cadians, because I did a Cadian army using brush on primer.
Maybe,
then I discovered the magic of spray paint. I was like, oh wow, that's a lot easier than sitting there hand painting the primer on 30 Cadians. Madness, I tell you. Harry says the blends that you can get are so quick. Yeah, cool. I'd be really interested in seeing that, because any new tools. I have done a lot of stuff with like weathering powders and washes and grimy effects. I think oils are really good for that. I've not tried it myself. I've got a stack of Necromunda stuff that, again, the more I paint, the more models I seem to get for Necromunda. We will have a big campaign at some point again when we can. I know Andy's up for that, and I think Dave's up for that as well. Jay, I'm sure I could convince you to get some Necromunda models as well.
I was looking at the Cawdor stuff, yeah.
Cawdor, cool. I may have ordered some Redemptionists at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
To get a little nutcases with Flamer's army. So, yeah. Can you believe it, though, Jay? It's 12 minutes to 9. Time flies when you're having fun. I've very nearly... I think this is where I started off. Kind of, this is as much as I'd built on the other twin before I'd started. So I guess over the course of the stream, I've built net a twin. So that's pretty cool. Jay, do you want to share what you've been working on so far? If I stick you on the main screen.
Yep.
You might need to move it a bit to the right a little bit. There you go.
So... let me know when you can see him.
Yeah, pull it back a little bit. There you go. That's looking cool. The yellow and blue kind of trails are looking good.
Yeah, so they're just base coats on them at the moment. And like I say, as I've been painting it, the swirls sort of don't blend into the blue so much, and the blue robe actually ends. So I can take it from like a brownie cream at the base to a white by the time it gets to the blue, which will be cool. The cream sort of ribbons, they tend to blend into the swirly bits a lot more, which is not a problem then, because it's going to be sort of cream coming from both angles. So they should be okay. I've not done a little flamey effect on the arrow yet, but then looking at the box art again, it's going to be blue and cream as well, so that's going to be cool. Sort of ties the model together. And then he's almost there. It's only really the ribbons now, which I think are probably going to take another evening or two to finish off. The base is going to be fairly simple, and then he's done. And that's another 300 points for the Lumineth then.
Nice, that's cool. Did you use the Water Plus for the thinning on that in the end? Or?
I've not done any of the blending yet on the ribbons, but I will do. Yeah.
Cool.
These are just the base colours down at the moment.
Awesome. Well, he's looking really good. You've got him together pretty quickly, haven't you?
Yeah, he's not taking long. I mean, the actual Fox himself is done. I've done all the blending on the tail. All the fur's been highlighted. Armor plates have been finished, and all the gold has been shaded and whatnot and picked out again. The bones, the horns on his top have been done. The gems have been picked out. I've done all the arrows, the bow, the gold's all done. The ribbons are all done. So it really is just the flame on the end of his arrow and the ribbons to do now. So
nice. Cool. That's good going. That's good going. Well, if I find my screen. Yeah, so she's needs a head. There's a lot of kind of intricate like chains and stuff that go on her. So that'll take a little time to build. And then really after that it's just the wings that need building. Like I say, the other twin is done. We've got the big kind of like peacock tail that goes on the back. That'll be really fun to paint up. I'm thinking kind of a dark green to light green transition. I want to try and replicate like a peacock colour scheme rather than the purpley one they've got on the box, because I think that will contrast quite well with the purple. And then that's what she looks like. Really, really nice models these.
They're going to be cool.
I had ordered the Witch Hunters in the same release, but I think they've been super popular because they were out of stock, or they were in stock when I ordered them, but they didn't have enough stock for everybody, so they'll be arriving later in the week. So I mean, it's not as if I'm short of things to build or paint, so that's absolutely fine. And then this morning I did a Great Unclean one as well. So he is here and he's fully magnetized, so I can give him the different weapon options for when the current must picks for the weapons are not as good when a new book comes out. This one in this hand's not as strong, but it still holds it, so yeah, that's fine. I was thinking if it did have issues with this, I'd have to drill out a bit of a bigger hole for the stronger magnets that I've got, but yeah, that holds fine. I think the sword's a little bit looser on it, as long as it holds during a game.
Yeah, I like the belt. That's cool.
That's holding. And I've got the Forge World one with the sword anyway, so I was just going to put the bell on it.
Yeah. Roticus is the character version, isn't he?
Roticus is the character. So the character's got a different head. So what I'll probably do is get a separate one for the caster and just build him as the caster version.
Yeah.
For the Keeper Secrets, I've been back and forth on this. I was going to build it as a normal Keeper, and against all conventional wisdom, I'm actually going to build it as Shalaxi, because I've got the old Keeper Secrets, who is, while still a bit smaller, is on the correct size base, so I can use it as a Keeper Secrets. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then build Shalaxi because it's a nice model.
Yeah,
and I like to have all the variants just because they look nice on the shelf. Because I'm a loser like that. For my Bloodthirsters, I've got a feeling I can probably do similar to what I've done on the Great Unclean one and just magnetize all the various weapon options, and I can use which of the three I want.
Yeah.
And let's face it, inevitably I'll get the other two anyway at some point.
That's cool.
So yes, that's what I've been working on. Demons. Just while it's been too hot to paint the last few days, so I thought I'd get some building done. And then I guess going into next week, I'll be painting the zombies. Similar to you, Jay, I want to try and get those big units done. So the zombies, the skeletons, the grave guard. Once I've broken the back of them, I've then got just fun characters to paint.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I mean, the zombies look like they're pretty fun to paint anyway, so, even though there's a lot of them to paint, they don't seem like they're a chore.
Yeah, and what I've done, the unit's made up of 4 different skin colours, just to mix it up a bit. Which is what the GW have done on their art, and in the battle tome there's some nice guides on different skin colours. Nick Baton did a cool video as well. We had a few different zombie skin colours as well. So yeah, I've had a few different them, and that breaks it up, means I can do in batches of 10 different colours. So I'm not sitting there painting 40 in the same colour, because that would break me.
Yes.
The skeletons are pretty
That's
easy
understandable.
because I've done them with the Curse City scheme, so the armor's actually black. So it's really
Yes.
just the bone and the red of the kind of robes, and then some, Dark Reaper, Thunderhawk blue highlights up through that on the black, which is pretty quick to do because they've not really got many sharp edges, so it's minimal highlighting needed on them. And then the Grave Guard are going to be dark silver. And again, most of them are in helmets and stuff, so I'll probably spray them silver, paint in the bone, and then wash it all down.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's all my infantry really quick, and then I can spend more time on the characters then. And realistically, I'm not going to be using all those characters in the same game anyway. And then my monsters, so the Terrorgeist and dragons and stuff, I'll probably do some transitions with the airbrush with them. I'm thinking purples and browns, similar to the kind of purple colour that I've used for my vampires. My Curse City, not my Curse City stuff, the Underworld's vampires.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Very
natural
cool,
colours to them, and that kind of ties them together because for the Mother of Nightmares, even though she's a horrific big monster dragon vampire thingy, she is still essentially a vampire that's let herself go. So I'm going to keep the same logic that all my vampiric stuff's going to be purpley based, with the exception of the werewolf based vampires who are going to have those pale skin tones. And that's going to be
With
my
the
way
red tattoos.
Yeah, and that's going to be my way of like distinguishing the different bloodlines.
Yeah.
So
No, that sounds good.
and then I've got I tell a lie. I've got a box of Blood Knights. Great Games Workshop very kindly sent us a box of Blood Knights, so I need to build them as well. They're really cool models. I've got 5 of them built already, and with that box, I can put together a cavalry-based list. I think it'd be fun for something different. So yeah, I quite like. There's lots of different lists that you can use with the book. Seems pretty fun. And you probably can have similar with your Lumineth, aren't you? You've got quite a few different possible lists you can do once it's all built.
Yeah, that's it. Well, with what I've got currently built, I can take a Metrica list, or I could play around with any of the other lists, really, apart from Hellon. I've only got 1 unit of wind chargers that are near enough painted, so I can't really do a Hellon list. But that's the idea, yeah, that I can just, vary the lists up. I've got under my desk. I've got loads left. The Sword Masters, the Blade Lords are a unit I really want to get to the painting table. Pretty sharpish. But I think before I do them, I'm going to do 20 more Wardens. Because then I think 40 Wardens gives me a solid base for any 2,000 point list I'm going to use, regardless of which sort of direction I go. But the Blade Lords are a unit I really want to get painted and on the table. They're not the greatest unit competitive wise, but they look so cool. That then gives me 10 Blade Lords, 10 Stone Guard, 20 Wardens that I can pad out any sort of 2,000 point army list with. Then I've got 30 Sentinels down here that I can build and paint, but I've not really got any motivation to get them built or painted. I don't really want to go Sentinel heavy in any of my lists currently. I just don't like the way Sentinels I think they're just an odd unit. A unit of 10 is not worth taking. A unit of 80 of them are just too strong. So until they sort of get the middle ground right with those guys, where I can easily, I can take 20 and don't feel like I'm handicapping myself, then that's when they'll hit the painting table, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Then the only other thing I'm working on is I've been working on this character this week, Saint Celestine, with I've got the Sister of Battle bug, so she's almost done. I just need to get her bodyguard done and the base sort of finished. The actual model itself is done, I think. I think there's a skull on the back I need to finish off. Yeah,
skull on the back.
Yeah, she's got like a servo skull floating around. But other than that, yeah, she was really great fun to paint. But she's got gold armor, whereas I am going to paint the black sort of Order of Martyred Lady.
Yeah. So, but more of a longer term kind of army then, rather than a quick bash them out kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, well, I look forward to seeing them. So yeah, so that's our hobby progress night. I hope you've enjoyed watching it along with us painting. We do this kind of thing every weekend. All going well. If we've got a book that's up for pre-order, we're going to try and do battles live on the stream as well. Available both on Twitch and YouTube. So if you're not following on one, why not give us a follow on the other and you get notified when we go live. But yeah, really enjoyed doing this with you guys. I hope you tune in next time. Make sure to share all your progress for Tale of Sprues on Twitter or Facebook, or send them in to spruesbrews@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll try and share as many as we can on our monthly post. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing. So yeah, until next time, we'll see you later. And yeah, have a good next week. Bye.